How or what facilitated an engagement that was the first of its kind and never before seen on this scale within the context of the Northern Ireland experience. The building of trust was very important. After many years of conflict, trust is broken down, and this needs to be rebuilt.
There was no issue with the Fleadh. Some of the organising committee were known to us as being politically active in the city, and we didn't know a lot of the other Fleadh people. So that was the initial reluctance of the engagement. But the more we were coming here and the more we were going back, it was getting less and less each time.
I'd just like to say, first of all, everybody's welcome here.
Bhí daoine ar thaobh sugaine a glan an ai páirte ag na buaintí ceol in san leá, mar híl siad go daran go sé troblaid ar an leá. But hílmuid gur ceantas na cineal aimime a bhí an ná go méid ahandaine in san cethir buinte leis an leá seo. So lean muid ar ai ar an tuiscin sin. Ar ná a bhí muid burtha go méid troblaid ar na sráidine de méid siad ag sénim, ach ní roiíonn troblaid ar Corby agus ní roiíonn gáil a Slandail na rudaí eile. So bhí muid nervous faoi ach Jimmy sé go maiid.
I suppose when we initially set out to meet the bands forum, there was a bit of apprehension in terms of how we would be received. We kind of laid our cards on the table, they listened, and it was a process, and I guess they took on board what we said. I'm sure they have said subsequently, that they would have thought, this isn't going to work. There's a bit of angst, only just because that we really did want all the communities to be involved, and we were hoping that would come across as being an honest and open invitation.
It was quite clear from day one that the bands weren't being brought in as token gestures to try and make the Fleadh inclusive, to tick a box. I think the bands forum were really impressed by the honesty of the Fleadh organisers. So that trust was built up very quickly. It was quite clear the warmth that was there and the desire, I think the genuine desire from the organisers of the Fleadh to have an inclusive cultural event.
And much of what was achieved in that regard was down to the nature of the participants.
I'm absolutely delighted, incidentally, absolutely delighted that I have discovered here that the different traditions are coalescing and working together without losing their own identity or losing their own autonomy. If you believe you can do something and have enough confidence yourself to do it, if you believe that you can respect somebody who doesn't hold your opinion, if you believe that, that is the milestone that will have been erected here in Derry.
Around March 2013, there were still flag protests going on in one particular part of the city, and the young people involved, from the loyalist community, we knew were interested in being involved in the band structure. We brought kind of key leaders from with that community to the bands forum because they were aware of the bands forum work and were quite interested in the prospect of setting up a band in their particular community. Whenever we talked to them about their potential involvement in the Fleadh, it was probably initially the most negative reaction we'd received in any part of the discussion. But once they heard from other bands forum members, that their attitude changed quite quickly. So there was a band made up of not all the members who were involved in flag protests, but certainly a number of them who'd gone from I suppose this kind of negative element of expressing their identity to a very positive one. Whenever the Fleadh then took place later in the summer, they were one of the bands that played on the gig rigs in Edmonton Square. So you had a remarkable journey from blocking roads to really expressing their culture in a really well accepted, progressive way.
I also want to say that the proudest aspect, for me anyway, of this Fleadh, apart from all of the other great things that happened, was the participation in this Fleadh of representatives from the unionist community. I thought it was absolutely wonderful. Their bands turned up, they were not afraid, they understood that they were very welcome, They understood the nature of the city, of how we want to be inclusive, how we want to move forward, how we want to see the Orange Order parade in this city, how we want to see the apprentice boys parade in this city, how we show them respect for their parades as they showed respect for Fleadh Ceoil Heron by participating in it.
When you look back and reflect on the involvement in the Fleadh, and I think the whole City of Culture year generally, I think there was more achieved during that year than possibly the previous 15. And I mean, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that on the back of that, cultural relations in the city are stronger than they've ever been, certainly in my lifetime.
I think it is beyond the expectations I had as well. You know, they were able to feed back to us that members of their community who hadn't been in the city for a long time were there for the Fleadh. They were walking about you know, the streets and bars and sessions. And this was what was good in the engagement as well. I expected we had an engagement of people performing at the Fleadh, but we had an engagement that goes far beyond that, which is great.
Before sé dearcó eile ar na buintí ceáil cinse, agus nuair aon tú aithne ar daoine ar na daoine hain, daoine bhfuil baint acu leis, is dulí cineal an sean dearcó a coinneal in dhé sin, you know. Tá an próses a golar aige dín lá tá nniuan, so chumas tús le próses atá forbairt agus ag fás de réire chéile, agus níos an caiite a stoppi sé.
You know, a few years before that there, we were at each other's throats over parading issues in the city. You know, so we've come a huge amount in that time. I think ourselves, we're sitting down saying we must consolidate now and try and get the rest of the country behind what we're at here. As far as the band's concerned, it's always all about the music. It's not all about the politics. It's not all about what you're doing or where you're doing it. You know, it's always about the music. Music can take the whole thing forward without an agenda around it.